Okay, in that case, I call the meeting to order at 10:03. Good morning, everyone. I will read the land acknowledgement. The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Adiwandurrung, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island who live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Thanks. Are there any declarations of interest? No. Moving on to the adoption of the agenda, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? The councillor has moved, Jonathan has seconded. All those in favor? Anyone against? No, then that's carried. Can we have a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes of the last meeting? Mary has moved. The councillor has seconded. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Then that's carried as well. Next up is correspondence. I put this item under correspondence because I didn't really know where to put it. Oh, there's Linda. Morning, Linda.
Good morning. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I apologize.
Okay, glad you're here now. Thank you. Dave can go back to bed if he wants to, Mary. All right. This item is the Griffiths House at 1840 DQ Road. You might all remember this has been a topic at the Heritage Committee before, or at least some of you will remember. It's a designated property. It is for sale at the moment, and there have been substantial renovations done on the inside of the property. So we don't usually make a fuss about the insides, but in case a prospective buyer intends to do exterior changes to the property, then of course we will have to know about that. This is of course very closely connected to one of our topics, the impending heritage permit, which Chris and Nancy have been working on and will give a presentation shortly. But right now, this permit doesn't exist yet, so we have to make sure we stay on top of this so that whoever buys this property is aware that certain things aren't allowed in case they intend to change the property on the exterior. I have been in touch with the real estate agent. They are aware that the property is heritage designated and have marked it as such in their listing. Any comments? Nancy, especially from you? Do you have anything in regards to this?
Not on this at this time.
Okay.
Well, the only thing I will add through you, Madam Chair, is that we did have a bit of an inquiry from a potential purchaser regarding fence work, and we have yet to respond to them about that, but that is something that we talked about last Thursday. I don't know if you want to speak to that further. Yeah,
I'll make a note of that. There is a prospective, thank you very much, I would have forgotten about that. There is one person interested in the property who would like to install a pool and with the pool a privacy fence, like a board fence, which generally you can't see through. So they have said they would not cover the frontage of the house, but if you look at the picture of the house itself, we also wouldn't want that fence to go too far towards the front wall of the house. At least some of the side facade of the east side facade should stay exposed. I'm not sure where this person hasn't purchased the property yet. This is all hypothetical at the moment. They just want to find out what they would be allowed to do. And so should this come up, they should be made aware that any kind of fencing around a historic property has to be approved by the Heritage Committee anyways. And any fencing that is not in line with historic fencing would need a special permission and cannot block the primary views onto the property. It all depends on where they intend to put that pool. It doesn't need to be a problem at all, depending on where that will be located. The former owner, before the present one, actually had a pool right behind the property, and it was obviously not impeding any heritage assets. So it basically all depends on what they are planning, but there would be restrictions with a high board fence with regards of where that is located, and it just couldn't take away from the heritage assets of the building. Any comments? No? Okay. All right. Then we'll move on. Invoices for payment. There wasn't anything yet. Ongoing business, installation of history plaques for designated properties. There's only one we will address this year. This is one plaque that was brought to our attention by a resident who noticed a mistake on this particular plaque. I think I've mentioned this before. It is true the information on the Heritage website is different from the information on the plaque. It's actually one of your neighbors, Jonathan, the Miller house. So 2 houses up from you or something, right? Sarah just recommended that we check in the Cultural Heritage report to make sure that what this person is saying and also what is on the Heritage website is correct. So I will get the report from the library and check up on that, and once we've done that, we can order a new plaque, and McGee can install it once the weather is warm enough for that to be done. Yes, Justin?
Sorry, Chair, that's the Miller house, you said?
The Miller house, yeah. It's spelled with an A, M-I-L-L-A-R. Okay. Then moving on to the heritage permit and a status update. We have had a meeting at planning last week, which was extremely constructive with Nancy and Chris and Mark Davidson. And Nancy, Chris, if you want to take over.
Thank you very much. We have a very short PowerPoint presentation just to guide the presentation of a fairly lengthy, it's about an 18-page memo that we've put together for everybody. If it's not already in your inbox or in front of you as hard copy, it will be in your inbox following this meeting. This document is meant to be draft entirely, and what we're looking for and trying to encourage is feedback and conversation about this draft framework to date. I'll talk about next steps and where we envision this process going and how quickly we might be able to get this in effect. Oh, next slide, please. So as you'll remember, last meeting, I believe it was in February, we are in February. It was in January where we presented the recommendations coming from our consultant, MHBC, regarding what a framework would look like based on a fairly extensive background review and kind of picking and choosing from our favorites. So we've prepared for you, and again, it'll be in your inbox, but we've prepared a draft public FAQ. I'll talk a little bit about what's in that. We've also, our intern Chris is here with me today, who's helped with a heritage permit application form. And then we have a guide that would also be presented online. And we were just talking about Griffith's House and getting the word out there about designations. So I could also see this guide being something that we distribute to real estate agents in the future, just about what, well, we'll get into the details of that. And again, as we've discussed, we're trying to improve transparency, clarity, making sure that applications and information and ideas about renovations or changes are communicated at intake. We're making sure that we're in line with legislation and statutory timelines. And again, we want to make sure the public knows when a permit is required. So that's the intent behind all the documents that we've prepared. And next slide, please. So just going through each of the components, we have our public FAQ. Again, just to be really clear about getting back to basics, I guess, and putting this material on the website and getting really clear about what a heritage designation means and what it doesn't mean, clarifying when a heritage permit is required, outlining the review process, describing conservation principles, and you'll see in the document that I've prepared, those are highlighted. So when everyone gets a chance to review, that's just one piece that I would like to highlight as very important to make sure that it's documented clearly what Thorold's expectations are. And then contact information for early consultation with planning staff. In the FAQ, just quickly, the questions are, what does it mean if my property is designated? Who designates a property? When is a heritage permit required? So moving into that more administrative and formalizing that administrative process. When is a heritage permit not required? What is the process? So we're suggesting that there is some sort of pre-consultation with planning staff. Following that, an application be submitted that staff reviews and then brings it forward to Municipal Heritage Committee for discussion and recommendations. And then following recommendations, we would present that to council for a decision. So you'll see that in the public FAQ. You'll also see it in the guidelines document, which we'll get to shortly. And then what happens if I begin work without a permit? Are there incentives available? Chris and I are also working on a community improvement plan and looking at incentives that are available for heritage properties. So this text is quite loose because the municipality has an opportunity to provide incentives. I don't know how, I've yet to learn how that process is being implemented, if at all, and if there's a desire to. And then if you have any additional questions, who to reach out to. So that is the public FAQ, and it's meant to be a little, well, engaging, easy to read, user-friendly, and not using a lot of Planning Act or Heritage Act language. So just an easy to digest FAQ. And Chris has worked largely on the application form in the next slide, if you'll walk us through that briefly.
Yep, so the application form, the intent was to formalize and streamline the submission process for work affecting designated heritage properties. It essentially separates heritage review from the building process and allows us to identify a clear scope of work and the impacts to the heritage attributes. The permit allows for things like the applicant to identify product and manufacturing details to understand how sympathetic it is to the heritage attributes. It also establishes complete submission requirements, references statutory timelines and appeal rights, and supports the tracking of the 90-day decision period. And this matters because it improves application completeness at intake, it provides clarity for applicants, and enhances consistency in review, and it also strengthens legislative defensibility.
And again, we've tried to make this very user-friendly, and we're definitely looking for input on the application. Is it too onerous? Is it not onerous enough? So happy to receive any feedback and make adjustments, but this we feel is a good starting point based on the best practices that we look at. And that goes for the FAQ as well. Any and all input would be much appreciated.
Okay.
And then the last piece is our guidelines document. I won't talk about it very much because it's really an expansion of the FAQ, but it'll walk applicants through the process. Again, outlines conservation principles, something that I would just love everyone's input on. We took a stab, and unless there's other documentation that you can refer me to, well, if there is, then I would love that as well. But again, we put it out there for your feedback. We'll talk about, well, the guideline talks about the relationship between heritage permits and other approvals, building permits and so on, and the timeline, and expectations for the timeline, council decisions, and overall just emphasizes early consultation. Come to us, we'll talk about your desires, we'll help with the application form, and we'll move it through the process. I think that's all I want to say about the documents, and then maybe on the next slide we can look at next steps. So we are putting this out in front of you today. Again, it's a large document. Didn't expect that anyone would review it in the 15 minutes that you may have had to look at it. But we would like to request feedback in the next couple weeks. I'll throw out March 6th as a goal that we could all work towards, and you can send your comments to through Anna or directly to us. I don't know how you would prefer to do that, Anna.
It doesn't matter to me either way.
Okay. Of course, you'll be circulated on everything, and we'll be meeting again before something final is presented. But happy to receive any and all feedback. We'll make the revisions. We would prepare, ideally for the next Heritage meeting, another set of final draft documents that we would be looking for your endorsement on, and then looking into, I guess, beginning of Q2 or end of Q1, we would be looking towards bringing this to council for adoption. And then we'll talk about implementation. There's a website update happening. This is not like the most attractive document. I'd love your input on, you know, we've seen some municipalities that have a cover page and some nice examples of some of the designated buildings. So we could oomph this up to make it something that people will want to pick up and look at and learn about. So that's an option in terms of implementation. But we'll work on that and then start sharing our new permitting process, which is exciting. So that's where we're roughly headed over the next few weeks. And thank you for your time, and happy to answer any questions.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. This is fantastic, and I love the way this is going forward. Really great. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Nancy. I love the idea with making this attractive for people to pick up. Also, a sort of, you know, a nice cover page with one of our most attractive heritage homes, or a few of them, to show people that, you know, they don't have to be rundown dumps that are rented out cheaply, but they are really special homes that deserve to be proud of and to be preserved. There were a couple of things on the application form. I'm not sure whether you already addressed this. Like some of the things, for instance, here, where people are required to explain why the changes they want to do are sympathetic to the heritage attributes of the building. If the changes that anybody is making require architectural drawings, then obviously it would be desirable if it were a heritage architect who does this. Because in that case, right from the start, you have basically guidelines that will, lead towards what we want to achieve. If people think, oh, I'll do this, and I can somehow justify why that is sympathetic to the building, well, that might just be their take on it. So if from the start there were a professional who takes the lead on that, that obviously would be desirable. And then towards the end, there were other requirements that might be needed, one being a heritage impact assessment. Now, I might be wrong about that, but that is usually what is required when there's a development or a new build close to a separate heritage building which might be impacted by this new development. For the change on an existing heritage property, I'm not sure whether the heritage impact assessment is what's required. What is required is a review of the changes by a heritage professional who will then decide, is this justified? Well, it might be completely justified, but is it suitable or not? And those are the changes that need to be made to make it suitable. I'm not sure whether I interpret the use of a heritage impact assessment correctly or not, but when we have come across it, it usually was about a building proposal that was close to a heritage property. Any comments? Councillor? No?
I'm through you, Madam Chair. I'm just agreeing with you. That's the HIA, is how is the heritage property affected by some other development, not the actual heritage property.
So basically what we need for changes on an existing property is a review by a heritage engineer, a heritage architect, a CAPC, Canadian Association of Heritage Professionals member, who will, compare the plans of the owner or the architectural firm to the Heritage Act rules. Okay. Those were my comments to the application form. Otherwise, this sounds great. It's just yes, Jonathan?
I guess my only question would be, like, if you have something on your house, like a modern, it already has like a door from Home Depot, and you're trying to change your front door with something like that, obviously you're not getting a custom-made door, you're just putting the same thing that was there before. Like,
yep.
I always thought there was some sort of, if you're keeping it the same.
Yes, correct.
But does that go back to just whether you need a permit or not, or?
If you are not obligated as the owner of a heritage home to recreate heritage assets which have been lost. So if your home already has vinyl windows or a door from the Home Depot which is not in line with the architectural history of the house, then you can replace it with that same thing again. You do not have to, when these things need to be replaced, go back to the original item that it was. If you change a door, let's say there is a modernish door in an old building. You, as the owner, find that door ugly and want to exchange it with a different modern door. It might help to just come to the Heritage Committee and ask their permission whether that one is just as acceptable as the one that was there before. I don't think you need a permit for that. What is your take on that, Nancy?
Through you, Madam Chair, our understanding is that anything that's identified in a bylaw as a designated feature is the focus of this permit. So just reiterating what Anna said, anything that's already been lost or not designated in the bylaw would not be subject to a permit.
Yeah, the only thing we probably would want to avoid is make it worse. So that's why I'm saying it's always good to just check back with the committee, and then we'll say, yeah, go ahead, but you don't need a permit for that because it's not a heritage asset. Yeah. And the same thing if you do exterior repairs on a house, like you put a new roof on. Because your roof is leaking or it's getting too old, and your house has a asphalt shingle roof. You can just do that. You don't need a permit. It's courtesy maybe to tell the Heritage Committee that you're doing it. And we would also like to see colors on a roof, particularly because that is a permanent kind of installation that lasts for 20 or 30 years, and you can't just repaint it. Like when somebody wants to paint their front door pink, they can do it. Some heritage experts might disagree, but there are no restrictions about color on woodwork. It's easily changed again. A roof is a little bit different, so with roofing materials, we would want to stay roughly within, a look that works with a heritage property, but it does not need to be historic material. So these are just repairs that are done. If the roof line is changed, that is a different matter. Then you need a heritage permit. So any exteriors that are not in existence anymore, but have at one point be changed to something else, do not fall under this permit. But generally, it's a good idea to just let the Heritage Committee know that you're doing it, unless it's just painting. Yes?
Through you, Madam Chair. So that might be just for the FAQ of that, what you said, the explaining whether you need it or not, because that's, I think, one, to stop needless people front permits, and rather than just maybe, and it should say to consult of any changes. Yeah. You might consider consulting the.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing would really be to come to the Heritage Committee first. Yeah. We can tell them, well, do it, don't do it, get a permit, and then go into the permit process, which of course is a lot more complicated and also takes time for city staff to put together and to process, whereas it might not be needed. Okay. Any other comments? Yes, Councillor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say to Chris and Nancy, great work. I look forward to reading through and providing some comments. Positive.
Me too. Thanks. I'm looking forward to it too. And I'm just so thrilled that we're getting this on the road. Yeah. Okay, are we ready to move on then from this one? Yep, okay. Moving on to new business, St. John's Heritage Site designation. So we had a meeting with the NPCA and their legal team a couple of weeks ago. That was Nancy and I think Mark wasn't he? And Sarah was there, and we talked about the changes made in the wording of the report to fit into the conservation law rules. Basically, and by the way, I was sent the changes, the first draft of the changes yesterday. I'll give you a quick run through what it basically entails. One is just a basic listing of architectural details on both buildings, like timber framing, wood sash windows, masonry, and also cedar shingle-like roof coverings. The NPCA has gone away from actual cedar shakes because they rot incredibly fast, but they volunteered this look-alike composite material to use instead, which is actually more than I was hoping for. So this is basically just to confirm that these details on these buildings, if they need repairs, will be restored, repaired, or whatever, in keeping with a 19th century schoolhouse or a 19th century mill as is right now. So the other two main changes that were done were, first, that all mentionings of heritage clusters and cultural heritage landscapes were eliminated from the report, and the reason why is that this is a conservation area and it falls under special legislation. If we confuse the issue by calling it a cultural heritage landscape or a heritage cluster, then that will just complicate things, I assume, for the NPCA, whose conservation laws actually supersede any other conservation laws. So I think it's completely acceptable to leave that completely under their jurisdiction as a conservation area. Their strategic plan and the Escarpment Act calls for preservation of these areas anyway. And on a very similar vein, and this was the largest changes that they made in terms of just pages in the report, is to also take out any influence that either the City of Thorold official plan or the Niagara Region official plan would have. Again, those bylaws and legislations are superseded by the escarpment plan and NPCA's own official or strategic plan. I will ask them to forward that document to you, Nancy, so that you can have a look at it too. To me, it sounds all completely acceptable. So what we would be designating are those two buildings as designated structures located within an NPCA conservation area. Any comments? Okay. I also forwarded this to Sarah. Sarah, unfortunately, today is flying to the UK for a few weeks, but she will hopefully look at this, and I already asked the NPCA to forward the document to her and just okayed her as well, so that they can finalize it, and then you can start putting together the notice of intent. At tonight's council meeting, Councillor O'Hare is going to give notice of motion to pass notice of intent of this designation at the next council meeting on March 24th. Any other comments regarding this? No? Then we can move on. Heritage Awards, all right. There's an update, just a very short update as well. I've gotten in touch with the city clerk about this, what next steps are. As you might remember, our working group had put together a list of criteria. The clerk's office recommended that we also design an application form for people to suggest somebody for this award. Nicholas then also authored that this form can then go to planning and also to Natalie for a review and cleanup so that it sounds correct for an application form for a city award. And then after the Heritage Committee has looked at that and is happy with it, it can then go to council to be implemented. That's my update on that. So if the three of us could get together at one point and just sort of put together an application form, that shouldn't be too complicated. Maybe we can take the heritage permit application form as sort of a pattern. Obviously, it will be a lot less complicated than that. All right. Any comments? No? Then moving on to events. Culture Crawl in Pelham is going to happen on March 8th. This will just be a regular event for us. I'll be there with a table with lots of pictures of our 55 designated heritage sites. So we have to brag a little bit. And just also make some contacts with other historic and heritage societies in the region. This is organized by Geopark Niagara, which of course goes a lot further back than what we discuss in our heritage meetings. In fact, it goes back 12,000 years. It's about, the geological history of the area, but there will be also other heritage groups, including the John Brown organization from St. Catharines. Next one, and that's our main event for this year, the next one will be, Earth Day actually comes later. I should have listed the March 28th information fair first. That will be our main event for this year with a presentation about the importance of heritage preservation and also what is designation, why is it important to protect certain buildings, what does it not mean, why it's not scary. So it will also go a little bit into the heritage permit realm because obviously we would like people to conserve as much as possible, not just for history's sake, but also for our environment's sake. Wynne and I have already talked about a slideshow that will showcase many of our historic sites and also maybe just a tiny bit of information generally about Niagara and Thorold history. So that event will come up at the end of March, actually before our next heritage meeting. I will send a memo out to members in case you are interested in coming. It will take place downtown Thorold at the 50 Plus Center at 8 Carlton Street. Is it south or north? 8 Carlton Street south. South. Ground floor. And we will also be installing a couple of artifacts which have been donated to the city by a not Thorold resident, but the descendant of long-standing Thorold families, and these artifacts are closely connected to the former L.G. Loriman School, which is now the 50 Plus Center and the Building and Planning Department. So we'll be installing, or we'll have them installed and unveil them at that particular occasion as well. One is a painting by L.G. Loriman himself, and the other one is a coronation plaque presented to a former teacher and principal of L.G. Loriman School in 1935 on the occasion of the coronation of, or is it 1937? When was the coronation of George VI? I'm sorry. Okay, one of the two. Yes, all right. That will happen on March 28th, and I hope to see many of you there. That should be a really nice event. The Senior Center will take over the organizations. There will be treats as well. Okay, then moving on to Earth Day. Earth Day will be at the end of April this year, as was already mentioned last time. It will happen at the Canada Games Center, and the application was submitted, so we will be there. Any comments regarding Earth Day? No? Okay, then we can move on to the last event, which we're most likely going to do, which will be Canada Day. That will just be, again, us being there to, especially on a day like Canada Day, it's doubly important for heritage to have a presence. All right, any comments, suggestions? No? Okay, Then Heritage Newsletter, as we said, that should really be part of the city's newsletter. And for our Heritage Information Fair, I will make sure to let Natalie know to post this particular event on the city's website, so that, because it's open to the public, anyone can come, and to make sure that people know about it. All right. Outstanding items. Does anyone have any comments regarding the items that are outstanding but not on our... Yes, Linda?
The Beaver Dams Church, there's a meeting on Wednesday on Zoom, and there will be an update on the new stairway that's going up on the opposite side from the historic stairway, so they can reach the upper levels, which will be set up as a small museum. And there'll be some information on the small museum and the other fundraising efforts this year.
Great, thank you very much. Yes, David Cowan actually sent a picture of the staircase, which was almost finished at that time, to a number of people, myself included. It looks great. It fits into the building beautifully, but from what I understand, it's up to code, so whereas the historic staircase on the other side is not. So right. This is one of the last sort of completion items regarding the restoration of the historic Beaver Dams Church. Mm-hmm. Any other items on that list? No? Okay. Then we move on to roundtable. Jonathan, do you want to start?
Nothing at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay. Mary? I guess she had nothing to add.
I said nothing at this time.
Okay, great. That's what I thought.
Thank you, Nancy. Oh, yes, I do have something. You can't hear me again, eh? Huh.
No, we can now.
Okay, good.
Now. You were
I haven't
mute.
been able to see anyone throughout this meeting, by the way.
Oh my God, sorry.
Nancy and Chris, thank you so much. I think your report, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Of course, I don't have the hard copy. That's amazing. And you know, while I think of it, and I wonder if it might be of any value to take maybe 1 or 2 copies when you're out in public and pass them to people, you know, when you're at the events. What do you think? If they're asking about it, saying, do I have a heritage home?
Oh, I don't know. What do you think, Nancy?
Or no?
Well, it's Nancy's and Chris's report. So it's a pretty big document, Mary. You know, I'm not sure. Yes?
Sorry. What I meant to say was that maybe a little condensed, like even the frequently asked questions, you know, that, but not the entire document, of course.
Yeah.
Again, okay. I haven't seen it, so.
Yeah. Okay, so Councillor and Justin.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I think if I'm understanding Mary correctly, that she was suggesting that you bring the completed form to your events. So if someone walks up and says, you know, can I do this? Can I do that? You already have a source with you. Is that kind of the direction, Mary, that you were looking at?
Yes. Yeah, just, and yeah, but again, it would be, excuse me, sorry. Maybe I am getting Dave's sickness. Excuse me. But it would be condensed, of course.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, just something to think about, but I think it's fabulous, you guys. Well done. Yay. Thank you also for translating, Kim.
Okay. All right. And Justin.
Yeah, through the chair, just to suggest wait till the documents are complete, and then we can bring them to events and such.
Yeah.
Might be a direction.
Yeah, but I do agree to have a sort of maybe a list of frequently asked questions and their answers ready in case people do ask at events. That might not be a bad idea. But yeah, thank you, Justin. We will do that. Have you finish it, and then we'll put something together that people can look at if they have questions. Next one, Win.
Nothing from me, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
Oh, nothing right now.
Okay, Councillor.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Just one thing. 1937, May 12th.
See, I was correct to correct myself. I thought 1934.
The wonderful thing of having a smartphone, right? The information at your fingertips. I'm not that smart.
Yeah, I suddenly thought, no, Elizabeth II was 55. I think her father was not 35. But anyway, thank you very much
All right.
for that info.
Nothing else, thank you.
Okay. Justin, anything to add? Chris?
Nothing to add.
And Nancy?
Nothing for me.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. This was great. Our next meeting will be held on March 31st, so it will be a bit of a longer break. And there being no further business, this meeting is now adjourned at 10:50. Thank you very much,